think I'm gonna ride, but baby, it's cold outside. Just in case you didn't know it, this is the Indian Motorcycle Radio Podcast, and I'm your host, Reverend Kenn Blanchard, and it's been a doggone long time since the last time you heard my voice, but I'm here, and baby, it's cold outside. Well, it's been a while, my friend, but I'm still here. The podcast has been quieter than a graveyard on a Sunday morning, but I haven't faded yet. I thought about cutting this show and letting my depression win this round, but no. Funny thing about depression is that it's not even funny. Everything can be going wrong in your life, and you say, I'm used to it. But right now, I'm okay, and I'm learning to accept those moments. I've had a couple of good rides since the last time you heard my voice. The last ride was cold as balls on a brass monkey. So that's what I'm going to talk about for a little while. If you noticed, our Facebook page is on hiatus. I paused it. You won't be able to find it. I was looking to find somebody to take it over, but nobody answered the call. The air temperature today is 56 degrees, and that's pretty warm for January. I want to wish you all a happy new year and hope you have a great ride and season this year. But you know, at 56 degrees, at 60 miles per hour, it's about 33 degrees out there. And that can get you hypothermia. So it's important to be warm when you ride, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. And I might just share, I'll share what's going down with me, just in case you didn't know. Well, my story is simple, if not long. I've been riding since I was 16, got my license back in 1976, I believe it was. Last year I turned 60, so I've been riding over 30 years. I've rode from coast to coast. I've been pretty safe my whole journey. I've had probably about 10 different motorcycles, and the last one just happens to be an Indian Challenger 2021. I've owned Hondas, Suzukis, Yamahas, Harleys. Yeah, I think that's it. You might say I'm just a motorcycle enthusiast. I don't have a favorite, even though the one I'm riding is always my favorite. Decided to try this Challenger back in 2020 and waited until I could get up the strength to buy one because, they're not cheap. Well, for this occasion, in 2021, my wife had a brain tumor removed, and it was looking pretty bleak. And on my way to the hospital every day, I watched a couple of motorcycles move in and out of this shop in Annapolis. And one day, I fell inside. And the salesman caught me one day looking and said, "Man, why don't you get the bike? You've been looking at it for like a month." And I told everybody in the shop what was going on, that my wife was in a bad way. And this was my way to cheer myself up. And the credit union actually gave me money. So for my birthday, I rolled out with that bad boy. Now, my wife wasn't talking at the moment, and I wanted her to talk. So I asked her, did she have any objections, knowing that if she was okay, she would leap out of that bed and go for my throat and tell me, "How dare you buy a motorcycle while I'm in here?" But she was so out of it, she couldn't say anything, which made me feel even worse. But the wind therapy helped, and it has helped all of 2021, all of 2022 now. And I still haven't ridden that much because I'm still caring for the wife. And that's why the podcast has been so sporadic. And at one time, I had the audacity to think that if I would build it, that this would become some great podcast. And all Indian and Polaris people would run to me and throw money at my feet. And the dealership would become a sponsor, and we'd do stuff, live events at the shop. And I had audacious, hairy dreams of what this podcast was going to be. But alas, it's just me and you. I was able to inspire a couple of people to buy motorcycles over the last few months, and have written together with a few guys from the dealership and from my church. And we've been a mixed bag of everything. All cruisers, touring bikes of some type. And just being on two wheels with good people is always a good thing. Can I get an amen, somebody? Also, because of this podcast, I met a guy from upstate, up the coast, up in New York, New Jersey way, that is probably a distant relative. And that was a cool thing, too. So shout out to Rick, who is starting a YouTube channel that will probably outlast this podcast. No pressure, Rick. But don't quit, man. Don't stop. You know, the funny thing happens when you try to start something nice. The world doesn't stop. There's still health issues, financial issues, family issues. A whole bunch of stuff happens. But what I've learned over these past 2 years, we had a global pandemic as well, is that riding a motorcycle is still a very cool thing to do. It can soothe the savage beast. Actually, it can calm you down. It can give you that beloved wind therapy, putting your knees in a breeze. And if you're listening to this podcast, then you probably agree with me. Now, even though I shut down the Facebook page, I would love to hear that somebody actually heard this. So, if you're not doing anything in the next couple of minutes, send me an email. Kenn, Kenn, .blanchard, BLANCHARD, @gmail.com, and let me know that you're listening. I could use some encouragement in this new year. More than you know. And just an email might be the thing to do it. Talking about cold weather today. Not cold like Buffalo, that was ridiculous, but normal winter cold. How cold is too cold to ride? Well, some of you diehards will say never, but when ice starts to form and the temperature is below 32 Fahrenheit, cold tires equal less traction. So just saying, be smart about it. If you're up on 2, the first thing to do is maintain some core temperature so you don't get hypothermia. Second is to keep extremities from exposure to that cold air. That means gloves. Winter-rated gloves are an absolute necessity to protect your hands. I remember back when I was in high school and riding to school, I didn't thaw out till probably 90 minutes after I had got to school. Gore-Tex wasn't even invented yet. I was wearing this quilted jumpsuit. I think it was for hunting, but it wasn't adequate. Wearing the right gear and layered makes a difference. You got to have base layers, full leg, full sleeve. Even when you ride, you sweat. So the base layers allow for your skin to breathe, and it wicks away that moisture. You can also put some socks on that wicks away the moisture. For most conditions in the 20s or teens, you can wear a fleece jacket with a neck collar over your base, which helps create that insulation. And if things get cooler, you can always put another layer on, snug wool button-up, but maybe not. I'd swear by Gore-Tex, though, due to the waterproofing and the breathability. So if you're looking for something, make sure it has that Gore-Tex on there. Having a neck warmer is a necessity, too. Something that you can have that seals around your helmet. A fog-free one would be nice. There's a trend to not wear full face, but I would say whip that puppy out in the wintertime. For real. It'll make all the difference in the world. I have never tried heated gear. Some people swear by it, but I haven't got that far yet. To me, a full face helmet is mandatory. But in the winter, it'll keep your face from freezing up, increase your visibility, and improve the necessary protection against any kind of precipitation. Now, while a helmet with full face shield and vents will help protect you from the wind and the cold, it won't do squat to keep your neck warm. And think of your neck as the middle ground when it comes to cold weather riding. It's between your head and your chest, in case you didn't know, which makes it a weak link for some of your gear. Invest in a neck gaiter if you can find it. They're not a lot of money, but it'll make all the difference in the world. Do whatever you have to do to make sure the tips of your feet don't freeze and your knuckles don't freeze, and then your neck. Those are the weak points. Hopefully you got a windscreen, but hey, some of you guys are hardcore. Now, when you ride, cold weather means cold tires. I said that before. And everybody should know cold tires equate to limited traction. Riding helps increase heat in the tire, but even the briefest stop can quickly cool the tires down, providing a lack of traction. So while we're on that subject, let's discuss how to get heat in your tires. Many riders sway back and forth like a NASCAR driver, but simply put, that's a waste of time. To truly get heat in your tires, accelerate and decelerate quickly for a bit, obviously being aware of traction. Hard on brakes, too hard on the throttle puts heat in tires more quickly than riding like some redneck. And no offense to the rednecks. Plus, swinging around looks stupid. Also, make sure you have adequate tread on your tires for winter riding. If you got those drag slick tires that the sports riders have, you got no traction. Watch out for leaves and debris, which can add to your lack of traction. And check your tire pressure. That thing always goes down, even when it's warm. So check yours religiously before you ride. That's almost crucial 24/7. Now, salt is not only an enemy to metal, it's also the traction. Treat salt like ice. If you see crystallized appearances on the side of the road or in the middle lane, stay away from it. Also remember that those plow trucks destroy roads, causing new cracks, sometimes huge and able to chew up rims. And once again, remember to run correct tire pressure. You don't want to bend the rim or pinch a tube. Also, watch out for black ice. If even remotely looks like ice, stay away from it. And while on the subject of salt, remember that motorcycles weren't designed for winter riding, truth be told. Like salt from the ocean, motorcycles can quickly succumb to rust. Yeah, if you're out riding and there's some stuff on the road, when you get back, hose that puppy down. When the sun is out or not, give your bike a thorough wash to clean it off as much salt as possible. And this is also a great time to inspect your bike. Hey, when you ride, make sure that you increase your visibility in your following distance. Increasing your visibility simply means looking further down the road, helping you recognize hazards before they happen. That means you got to be tuned in, which I'm hoping that you are. Unlike the folks in the cars with the cell phones attached to their face, you don't have to do that when you ride. Pay attention. Increased visibility allows you to react to a potential threat a lot faster. And you need that when traction is limited, the road is cold. And as a rule of thumb, always look 15 seconds ahead. And as for a following distance, you're in a group of folks, open that thing up. Maintain a few car lengths of space ahead of you, allowing you some time to react like something flies from underneath a car or there's a hole that nobody knew was there. And then riding on a car's ass is completely stupid, and even though I witnessed it a million times, yeah. It takes an experienced rider about 85 feet to stop a bike traveling at 35 miles an hour. An average car is around 16 feet, so it would take about 5 car lengths to stop. Do the math. Of course, the faster you're riding, the more distance you should maintain. And if the snow starts falling where you are, go home. The white stuff can accumulate quickly, providing the slickest conditions. Keep an eye out on the forecast, and even if there's a threat of major snow, keep the bike home. Or buy a kit to create some studded snow tires. Depends on where you live for that one. In controlled environments, riding on snow ice can be an addiction for some people. Not for me, though. I'll let you guys do it. I'm letting you know that riding in the winter can be challenging, but some of the stuff that I mentioned will help you get some more miles in, even when it's cold. Oh, yeah, one more tip. You should probably start your bike and let it run for at least 15 minutes a week during the winter to help keep the internal parts operating correctly and to recharge the battery. And talking about the battery, you have to get a battery tender on these Indians. When I first got my bike, it went dead on me, and that messed up the whole computer system. The key didn't work. It was a whole bunch of stuff. I had to get it towed to the Indian dealer like a rookie, and all they did was put a new battery in it and retune everything. So get you a battery tender, leave it in the garage on the tender, and then start it up every week, and then you'll be good to go. If you add a little dry ice solution to your tank, you'll keep that water out of the gas. That's also a good tip. It's a little red bottle of stuff called dry gas. It's supposed to inhibit condensation, which makes your gas go bad. But gas doesn't stay forever. Like if you left it in a can and didn't touch it, it'll go bad after a while. It's kind of funky like that. Gas isn't like something that you can keep around for years and years. It goes away. It doesn't stay potent is a good word. I'm missing my words today. But I'm hoping that you understand what I'm saying. I think that's all I got for tips for this week after my long hiatus. Again, I'm wishing you a very happy new year. I don't know what's going to happen with this podcast, but that's up to you, actually. If I can get, what's a good number? If I can get 20 listeners to email me, this program will stay. I'll keep you update on if we get 20. I ain't asking for money or nothing. There's going to be a link for buy me a coffee in the show notes, but that's not important as does anybody even care? That matters a lot, actually, in this world. When you're doing stuff, you wonder, does anybody really care? Let me know your story. I know there was a time when I asked for a co-host, and I just couldn't get my schedule together. Again, there's some stuff going on here in the house. I'm trying to be a good caregiver, but I'm losing my mind sometimes. My email will be in the show notes. That's kenn.blanchard, that's Ken with 2 N's, at gmail.com. And just in case nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. This is your friend and your brother from another mother, the Reverend Kenn Blanchard. I'm hoping that you have a terrific 2023. And looking forward to hearing from you. Shalom, baby.
All right, my friends, that's it for this week. I want to thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to your favorite righteous podcast, Indian Motorcycle Radio. Now may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon you. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Kickstands up. Let's ride.